What if every raise you ever got made you quietly, invisibly poorer? Lifestyle inflation is the automatic process where spending grows every time income grows. Economists call it the hedonic treadmill. You run faster, you stay exactly in place. Here's the uncomfortable math. The U.S. personal savings rate in 1975 averaged 17%. By 2005, it had fallen to 3%. Incomes roughly doubled in real terms over that span. People earned more and saved less. The mechanism is almost embarrassingly simple. A raise arrives. The brain registers it as permission. The new car, the bigger apartment, the upgraded gym membership, each feels earned. Each feels temporary. None of them are. What makes this dangerous is that lifestyle upgrades convert variable spending into fixed obligations. A nicer apartment isn't a one-time splurge. It's a recurring monthly commitment that follows you for years. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, but it cuts both ways. Compounding spending commitments erode net worth just as reliably as compounding investments build it. The math is identical. The direction is opposite. Here's where it gets harder. Lifestyle inflation isn't just about need. It's driven by social comparison. Thorstein Veblen named this in 1899 conspicuous consumption, spending designed to signal status rather than satisfy genuine desire. Morgan Housel noted in The Psychology of Money that the most quietly wealthy people often live in ordinary houses and drive ordinary cars. Wealth is what you don't see. The flashy neighbor may be financing every single thing you admire. Now add the tax layer. A raise from $60,000 to $80,000 in Texas, which has no state income tax, sounds like $20,000 extra. After federal income tax at the 22% marginal rate and FICA payroll deductions, the actual increase in take-home pay is approximately $13,800. Lifestyle inflation rarely adjusts for that gap. This is the trap the title names. As lifestyle obligations expand to meet income, leaving a job becomes terrifying. The salary is no longer compensation. It's the minimum required to sustain the life you've accidentally constructed around yourself. But here's the question most salary research ignores. What if a raise can actually lower your long-term wealth? Not metaphorically, literally. The mechanism is real, and it has a name. Lifestyle creep is the clinical term. Unlike a deliberate upgrade, creep implies gradual, unnoticed movement. Each individual spending decision seems reasonable. Collectively, they consume the entire income increase before a single dollar reaches savings. Consider Jordan, a public school teacher in Austin, Texas. In 2016, Jordan earns $48,000 and saves 9%. By 2023, after 2 raises, Jordan earns $67,000. Savings rate, 4%. Net worth has barely moved. Between those 2 salary milestones, Jordan upgraded from a used Honda to a leased Hyundai, moved to a 2-bedroom apartment, added 4 streaming subscriptions, and started buying coffee daily. Each decision, completely defensible, combined $19,000 a year in new obligations. Here's the twist. Jordan's neighbor earns $52,000, $15,000 less, and has 3 times Jordan's net worth. Same city, same cost of living, different relationship between income growth and spending growth. That relationship is the entire game. The exit ramp the title promises is a framework called income-spending separation. The core principle: income and spending must run on entirely separate tracks, with an explicit rule governing how much spending is permitted to grow when income grows. The rule is mechanical by design. When income increases, 50% of the net gain goes directly to savings or investment before any lifestyle adjustment is made. The remaining 50% can fund upgraded spending. Non-negotiable. Automated. Automation is the only mechanism that actually works here. Human willpower isn't built to resist the permission signal a raise sends to the brain. An automatic transfer on payday removes the decision entirely. The money never touches a checking account it could be spent from. But what if the damage is already done? What if lifestyle inflation has already colonized the entire paycheck? This is where most financial advice goes quiet. The answer is uncomfortable, and it requires a specific kind of audit. The subscription stack audit is the first concrete step. List every recurring charge, not from memory, from bank statements. Chase's 2022 Slate of American Finances report found the average American underestimates monthly subscriptions by $133 per month. The framing matters. This isn't a budget cut. It's a lifestyle audit, a deliberate review of which spending actually increases life satisfaction and which is simply inertia. Those are different categories. Cutting inertia doesn't feel like sacrifice. The second tool is establishing a spending floor, a defined baseline that doesn't automatically rise with income. The floor covers genuine needs plus deliberate wants. Everything above it requires an explicit decision, not a default drift upward. Run the numbers over 10 years and the gap becomes stark. Someone earning $60,000 who saves 15% at a 7% average annual return accumulates roughly $130,000. Their lifestyle inflating peer, under $12,000. Same income, opposite trajectories. Back to the hedonic treadmill. Psychologist Philip Brickman's 1978 research showed humans adapt to improved circumstances within roughly 3 months. The upgrade feels good. Then it becomes the new normal. The treadmill never stops on its own, but the exit door is real. The people who step off the treadmill quietly accumulate what researchers Thomas Stanley and William Danko documented in The Millionaire Next Door in 1996. High net worth paired with deliberately low visible consumption. They called it being a PAW, a prodigious accumulator of wealth. Here's the harder question. Does this work at lower income levels? The MIT Living Wage Calculator puts the single adult living wage in most U.S. metros between $32,000 and $42,000 annually. Below that threshold, savings rate is a structural problem, not a behavioral one. Which means income growth isn't the enemy. It's a lever. The enemy is treating every income increase as automatic permission to spend. Growing income deliberately while holding the spending floor stable is the most powerful wealth-building move available to ordinary people. 3 levers move income without requiring a new job. First, documented skill acquisition, certifications with measurable salary premiums. Third, a single monetized skill deployed outside primary employment. Back to Jordan in Austin. 3 years after applying the framework, Jordan negotiated a $6,000 raise, automated half into a Roth IRA, and canceled $800 in inertia subscriptions. Net worth increased by $41,000 in 36 months. Same city, same job. The deepest change is identity. Stanley and Danko found that PAWs, prodigious accumulators of wealth, consistently define financial success by net worth, not income. Their UAW counterparts, underaccumulators, do the opposite. Income tells you what you earned this year. Net worth tells you whether any of it survived. In 2008, U.S. household debt hit 100% of GDP for the first time in recorded history. Economists at the Federal Reserve identified over-leveraged consumer spending, households expanding obligations faster than income, as a primary amplifier of the financial crisis. Individual lifestyle inflation, aggregated across millions of households, helped detonate a global recession. The raise isn't the trap. The automatic permission it grants is the trap. Separate income growth from spending growth. Mechanically, deliberately, every single time. And the paycheck that once held you in place becomes the engine that quietly sets you free.